Kepler 186f Beta wasn't on any serious galactic map. You wouldn't find it mentioned in trade routes or diplomatic reports. It was the colony Earth never bragged about. Too cold, too remote, too costly. 14,000 people lived there. According to outdated census records, it's mostly retirees, failed scientists, and forgotten soldiers. That's how the Varaxi Dominion saw it. A rusting speck on the edge of human territory, target so weak it would almost be an insult to conquer. The Varaxi cruiser dropped out of warp with a low-energy signature. Was confident they wouldn't be. Noticed their warlord, Commander Drix, didn't even brief his soldiers properly. "This will be over in 7 minutes," he said, smirking through mandibles. Intelligence reports showed no defense systems, no planetary shield, not even a basic comms array capable of distress signals. Perfect. The kind of soft punch that made politicians happy and warriors bored. The dropships launched within seconds. The surface was lifeless, quiet. Structures showed no heat signatures. Too easy. They landed in the southern basin, a small collection of modular domes half buried under snow. No guards. No movement. Drix deployed his first wave, 12 Varaxi. Hunters armed with plasma blades and motion-tracking visors. Within 60 seconds, they vanished from telemetry. No warning, no signal, just ... gone. GRI. X assumed interference. He dispatched another group, this one equipped with drone coverage. Their feed showed nothing unusual. Then, a scream, and static. The drones fell from the sky like broken toys. Drix clenched his lower arms and sent the third wave. This time, in armor, scanning for anything remotely human. One made it back, half a body, shaking, bleeding, its voice barely audible. They're not civilians. They're waiting. What the Dominion never knew, what Earth never published, was that Beta wasn't a failure. It was a vault. A hidden preserve for humanity's discarded weapons. Not missiles or mechs, but people. Soldiers with rogue AI, implants, black ops, agents too broken for peace, thinkers exiled for ideas too dangerous to permit. They were given a choice. Die quietly or live here, together, far from the core worlds, forgotten, so they did. They built farms, taught kids, hunted game, but never stopped training. They saw the Varaxi coming long before they entered the system. Watched the Dominion's arrogance unfold with grim patience. No alarms, no power spikes, just a silent acknowledgement. Time to remember who we are. The Varaxi troops didn't die in combat, they were erased. Turned inside out by environmental hacks, decoy tunnels, sonic traps buried beneath old supply crates. Neural jammers fried their commands mid-thought. One tripped a snow-covered relay and ignited a pulse blast that vaporized a 30-meter radius. The only thing louder than the silence was the precision. Nothing wasted, nothing accidental. By the 7th minute, the land was still again. From orbit, Drix watched his forces vanish from the board. No enemy visible, no counterattack. Just a message burned into his ship's HUD in Terran Standard. This colony is off limits. Leave now. **. Time stamp. 0 o'clock. The Varaxi raiding unit, armored in iridescent exoskin suits, hit Kepler 186f Beta's atmosphere at full descent velocity. Dropships sliced through the sky in perfect formation, skimming the cloud layers with calculated arrogance. They expected no resistance, so only a soft landing and 7 minutes of ceremonial conquest. Commander Drix watched from orbit unimpressed. His warriors were elite, genetically sharpened, bred for slaughter. This was a warm-up. 112. The first boots hit the ice-packed ground. Scanners showed minimal geothermal output. No defense drones. No electronic activity. Just wind. The lead scout activated heat vision. All clear. They advanced toward the nearest habitat dome. Weapons loose at their sides. 203. The scout's audio cut out. His icon faded from the HUD. 211. Drix grunted. Local interference. Proceed to 30. The second squad entered the dome. Their cameras streamed jagged image-eyes, abandoned bunks, low oxygen, faded murals on the walls. One paused. A drawing on the wall, depicted a human soldier towering over alien bodies. The feed glitched. 249, screaming, chaotic motion, static. 314, they're not scientists, someone yelled. They're upgraded, they're waiting. 330 visuals returned for a moment. A figure darted across the frame too fast. Humanoid, masked. Then the feed went dark. JRIX hissed. Deploy containment units, erase the area. 410, orbital sensors lit up. A transmission pulse shot straight up from the planet's surface. Within seconds, the Veraxi cruiser's targeting system went offline. Drix's bridge crew scrambled to recover the controls as their ship's gravity shifted. Unnaturally. 442. Planetside squads were reporting hallucinations. Voices in their heads. Memories that weren't theirs. The old humans hadn't just hidden. They had built psychotronic fields that turned the planet itself into a weapon. Weaponized memory echoes, Neuralink traps, and behavior mirroring constructs. Everything designed to confuse, fracture, and dismantle. 520. The Veraxi Wartech began to betray its users. Plasma rifles vented backward. Helmets locked up. Combat suits twitched, misfiring commands. One soldier's exosuit began folding in on itself, reacting to a command that had never been issued. Friendly fire incidents spiked. 612. Only a few remained. They fled toward the extraction zone. But the evac beacons were already buried. The landscape had shifted snow dunes reshaped by underground mechanisms. A single voice boomed across all frequencies. This land remembers everything. 635. The last operative transmitted a garbled message. We thought they were fossils. ... but they're alive. Alive and hunting. 7 o'clock. All Veraxi signals ceased. Silence reclaimed the valley. Back in orbit, Drix stood frozen. Weapon had fired back at his ship. No visible assault force. But his entire ground team was gone, consumed by an enemy they couldn't even recognize. He stared at the final message. On his console, it appeared again, now etched in every monitor. 7 minutes was generous. He ordered a full retreat. No one questioned him. The Veraxi Dominion would not speak of this loss. But the fear would spread quieter than war, louder than pride. Commander Nara sat in the lowest level of the southern command shaft. Her breath calm, the cold recirculated air humming through the vents. 92 years old, half her body replaced by budget-grade cybernetics, the other half held together by grit. She watched the screen flicker one last time, confirming total Veraxi withdrawal. No celebration, it's just the flick of a switch and the quiet whir of defensive systems powering down. She didn't smile. She simply muttered, "Let them think we're still weak." Above her, the colony was already back to work. No sirens, no victory speeches. Farmers returned to tending vertical algae towers. Engineers resumed their diagnostics on geothermal pumps. The children, fully briefed on silence protocols, resumed classes. No one asked how many died. No one needed to. This wasn't the first attempt, and it wouldn't be the last. Years ago, people here had accepted a simple truth. They would be forgotten by Earth, and that was a gift. No politics, no oversight, just purpose. The retired soldiers who'd survived deep black operations brought their minds and memories. The engineers who had once designed weapons that could never legally be used brought their blueprints. The thinkers, the unstable geniuses, the war-scarred and wary, they built something together. Not a fortress, a sanctuary, not for peace. For preparation, the Veraxi had been watched since their ship entered the system. The moment they veered toward the planet, the signal cloaks went up. Environmental quiet mode was triggered. Even the power grid rerouted to thermal buffers to avoid detection. When the aliens landed, they weren't met with resistance. They were met with precision traps set by people who'd trained for this day every morning, in every breath for decades. The youngest colonist, 9-year-old Milo, helped drag one of the damaged training drones back into the tool shop. His father nodded approvingly. He didn't speak of the battle. It was already done. Their lives would continue repairs, maintenance, the unending rhythm of survival. That was the victory. not the elimination of an enemy, but the preservation of their silence. Nara stood slowly and activated the old uplink transmitter hidden beneath her desk. A single message was sent not to Earth, but to a hidden network of other off-the-record colonies. Others like Beta. They tested our edge again. Response time: 7 minutes. Advise readiness. Then she powered the transmitter down. No trace left. Earth would not know. The galactic powers would only hear rumors. That's how they wanted it. Legends grew faster than reports. As she stepped outside, the icy wind bit at her synthetic joints. She looked across the valley. Kids running drills. Older veterans welding armor panels onto utility haulers. One of the medics laughed, adjusting his surgical exosuit for hydroponic labor. This wasn't a colony. It was a message written in people. One word: remember. It's not just what they'd lost, but what they'd made of it. Asterisk Galactic Council. Transcripts never officially acknowledged the event on Kepler 186f Beta. The Varaxi Dominion filed no complaints and withdrew their patrols from the surrounding sectors without explanation. But the silence said everything. In trade routes and mercenary forums, rumors swirled like solar storms. A small, forgotten human colony had vaporized an elite Varaxi strike force in under 7 minutes without launching a single visible counterattack. No one could confirm how. There were no survivors, no wreckage returned, no broadcasts intercepted beyond a single phrase. This colony is off limits. Theories spread fast. Some said Earth had secretly deployed a new AI-powered defense grid. Others insisted it was a black site for human bioweapons. A few believed the humans had resurrected the minds of old generals through quantum echo and built a colony of the UND. The Trilax merchants quietly rerouted all travel corridors. To avoid human fringe territories, several independent systems reached out to Earth with offers of preventative alliances, their wording careful, their eyes twitching with unease. Earth denied any involvement. Public representative released a sterile statement. Kepler 186f. Beta is a non-militarized terraforming site. We have received no reports of conflict. It was true. Earth hadn't heard a word. The colony operated on its own frequency now, beneath even Earth's radar. But the fear stuck. Pirates marked human colonies with red zones on their nav charts. Smugglers whispered about vanishing ships, untraceable jamming signals, voices mimicking their crew. One called it the human echo. Even among empires known for cruelty. That phrase chilled the air. On Kepler 186f Beta, none of this mattered. The people didn't know what was being said out there, or if they did, they didn't care. Their work continued. They reinforced structures, updated weather shields, and resumed training rotations. The defense traps were rearmed, the psychotronic fields reset, the drills rewritten with new variables. 7 minutes was no longer acceptable. They aimed for 6 next time. A small child, Ava, balanced on a snow-covered beam, remote controlling a scout drone with ease. Her grandfather adjusted her footing, guiding her movements without saying a word. Behind them, another group trained in silent unit maneuvers. Their suits patched, weapons old, but their coordination flawless. This was how legends were born, not in the noise of war, but in the silence after. One Varaxi prisoner had been spared, sent back, not out of mercy, but as a warning. His ship floated back to Dominion space, drifting with emergency beacon active. When retrieved, he was barely coherent, his body intact, but his mind fractured. He spoke one sentence before slipping into coma. They didn't fight to win. They fought to remind us. In time, other colonies would rise, other threats would come. But the galaxy would never again look at humanity's outskirts the same way. Because now, every world, every drifting rock, every ice-covered dome could be the one. The one that wasn't a target, but a trap. And behind that uncertainty stood the greatest weapon humanity had ever built. A reputation earned in 7 quiet minutes.